Which do you like better, plastic handles or wood handles?
Tell her to stick to wood.
You can't beat wood.
The plan is to embed this magnetic bit driver inside these 4 pieces of wood. The hex shaft on this is 1/4 inch across the flats, and from point to point, the widest section
Is the square root of 1/12.
which is how thick these 2 pieces are. These pieces press against 2 of the flats, and this comes on top. And that's how it comes together.
I get all the pieces lined up correctly, and I drill 2 holes in them in the right diameter so that nails will fit snugly in the holes. I'm going to be gluing the pieces together, and when you clamp, wood with glue in between the pieces can squirm around, and the nails will keep everything lined up during the gluing operation. I mark a couple of areas where I'm going to cut notches. I could tell you why, but that would ruin the suspense. This is epoxy glue I'm putting on the bit holder. It's the slow epoxy, it's not the 5-minute. Putting wood glue on the rest of it. These pieces are wider than the finished product, so I don't have to get the glue all the way out to the edge of these pieces of wood. When I do this assembly, the nails keep the pieces aligned. I turn it over and get ready for the next step. That staple that I put on the bit holder will keep the bit holder from sliding out of the whole screwdriver when I clamp everything together. This is some more epoxy glue here on the bit holder. Now some more wood glue. You can see the nails that are there. They're going to keep the next piece aligned when I put it on. There goes the next piece. Some spacers here to get everything good and aligned, get it in the vise, clamp it in several directions so that the bit holder is contacted solidly by the wood, and then tighten everything up and let it set overnight. Before I do anything else, I want to test and make sure that this is solid. I'm actually turning it pretty hard here, checking to see whether the bit holder loosens up. Get the nails out, and this is what the glued up assembly looks like before I turn it. I skipped a couple steps. I trimmed it to length and I cut it to this octagonal cross section. Now it's in the lathe and I turn it, and before you know it, it looks like this. I drill a 1.3 millimeter diameter hole a short ways into the wood. I've stuck the end of this linen cord into that hole along with some epoxy glue, and I'm pressing it together and trimming the excess glue. I wrap a section of the screwdriver toward the front with this linen cord. It's a cord that's sold for wrapping pool cue handles. I'm using wood glue. Maybe not the best choice. It squeezes out a little bit in between wraps, and I have to be careful to remove the excess. Once I reach the end, I have a different way of securing this end of the cord. Rather than putting it in a little hole like I did with the first end, I carve a small groove, and I'm going to glue the cord into that groove. I've got epoxy glue in that notch, and I'm putting the cord in there and pressing it down below the surface, and then applying some more epoxy glue over the top. I've skipped a couple of steps here. I turned the left end to remove that glob of extra glue that I put over the cord. And I turned this end here, the rounded shape on the butt end of the screwdriver. Now I cut it off and disassemble the screwdriver from these fittings that I connected it to the headstock of the lathe with.
That's the finished product. I've done some hand sanding to make that end smooth. I've put a oil finish on the wood. A word about the wrap, this linen cord. It's not just decorative, it's there for strength. When you use the screwdriver, when you apply torque with it, the wood would tend to split if you didn't have something wrapped around it to hold it together. Most wood-handled screwdrivers have a metal piece here. They have a ferrule, and that's traditional. It looks nice, but I also like the look of the linen cord. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching.